congrats on Terrifier 3. It was depraved in all the right ways, and you're fantastic in it. So I guess my first question for you, since this is your second Terrifier film, I assume there was like a bit of an adjustment period filming one of those. So how was it going in the second time and knowing fully what you signed up for?
Well, luckily for me, we had filmed Terrifier 2. We wrapped 4 years ago. So I had plenty of time to recover. So by the time we got to Terrifier 3, I was so ready and psyched to do this. And that was because of the pandemic, it was because of the strike. There was so much that was stopping us for just jumping into to 3. And I know it feels like it wasn't that long ago because it just released in 2022, but that was 5 years in the making, that film. But for this time, it was so much nicer because we had so many more hands on deck, so many more talented artists that we included in the crew, and they were all so willing and such hard workers. So it was an easier experience, not so much emotionally, but just in terms of filming on a movie set. It was a much easier experience thanks to these wonderful new artists.
Yeah, you talk about the time between the films because when I was watching the film, they're like 5 years have passed, and I'm like, no, but yeah, it really had been that long, and you need to skip because your younger brother in the film, he's obviously aged quite a bit from two. So how is it working with him again? And one aspect I do like about this film is that it really deals with the after effects of what happened in Terrifier 2. So how was it kind of exploring those kind of character moments of, just seeing the trauma and how that's impacting their lives going forward?
It's a dream working with Elliott. I love him so much. He truly is like a brother to me, and his parents, Justin and Daniela, and his girlfriend Josie, like they are my family. Like in real life, through and through, we spend so much time together. I'm so in awe with him as an artist, as a musician, but that's a story for another day. He is really truly upped his game this time around. Especially there is a particular scene between Jonathan and Sienna where they're understanding, what's happening is unfolding, and they're having a conversation about it, and it's a pretty intense scene. And Elliot and I got to improv a lot in that scene, and Damian kept it in. So I was so psyched about that. We were working that scene like the day of, we were just like going back and forth, and I could just feel how much he's grown as an artist since then. So I was so excited to work with him. And there was a second part of your question, right?
Yeah, just how is it really dealing with the after effects of Terrifier 2 within this movie?
Yeah, I was so excited to dig my teeth into that because it's sure trauma is very much a an ongoing theme with final girls and survivors in horror films, but I think that we really got to approach it in a new, different, and exciting way, in a truly honest and vulnerable way. Damien really gave me free reign of being able to discover the emotions of Sienna. He's so collaborative, and he's willing to let me do my take on it. He'll give me notes maybe, and depending on what ends up in the edit, we it truly feels like a collaborative experience. So I was so psyched to deal with the aftermath. And it's one of the most exciting things about the film for me, aside from the wonderful practical effects.
Yeah, that's wonderful that it's such a collaborative process. And you mentioned the word intense. And whenever I talk to Damien, there's an intensity from him just because he's so passionate about these projects. And this really is his baby. And not that all directors aren't passionate about the art they're creating, but when you're working with someone that does have such a vision and such a passion for this whole franchise, how does that kind of help you? Because it seems like he really wants the best product on the screen.
I love that you brought that up because the stakes are really high for Damien. He doesn't have a whole Hollywood production behind him. He is truly making the work he wants to make. He's telling the story he wants to tell, and he listens to fans intently. He cares about what people want to see in his films because he's fully aware that the fans have brought him to the, aside from his, of course, his skill and his talent, the fans have catapulted him into this realm that maybe most people wouldn't expect that he would be able to achieve. But the thing about Damien is he's always known that he would achieve this because there was no other option for him. And working with him is such an invigorating experience because it's so inspiring. Even when we DM each other and I tell him like the projects I'm working on and what I'm writing and you know how I might have some imposter syndrome about it and some reservations about it, he's constantly, his motto is just do it. And he says it in a joking way, but he means it because that's what he's always done. He's always just done it, and he just like goes full speed ahead, reaching for his goal. And to be even near someone that passionate makes you want to be a better artist. So, like I said, it invigorates me in ways that are still surprising to me.
I love that you both are supporting each other in that way. That's really lovely to hear. And you mentioned that, fans have really embraced this franchise and they've really embraced you as Terrifier's final girl as well. How's it been, getting catapulted into like Scream Queen territory with all these legends? Like horror fans just show out for their icons like nobody else.
Well, I'll first start with saying that horror fans are some of the best genre of fans you could ever ask to have. Like they really are so loyal and so passionate. And I think that's a testament to the type of movies that they watch. They watch really passionately told stories where again the stakes are at 100 and they are just as passionate as the stories they're watching. So I'm very fortunate to have people that support me in that way. As far as being a scream queen, I'm so grateful that people think I'm deserving of that title. I don't necessarily feel that yet. It's funny because Damien, Dave, Elliott, and I were just celebrating the initial success of the Terrifier 3 release, and we were talking about how it feels. And Damien put it beautifully in that he said that it just feels like a glimpse or a moment of realization, but it never lingers. It never stays. Like we go about our day the same way we always have. We don't really tell ourselves that we are the things that people say that we are. So it is hard to embrace sometimes. And I don't even know if I'll ever achieve that status. But if people like to embrace me as that, I am so grateful that they do.
You have a great mindset, and I really love the young actress that plays Gabby in this film. How was it working with her? You two really felt really lovely, and there's a nice connection between you two on screen.
I love Antonella. It's funny because we all had our own nicknames for her. Damien called her Toes because a lot of her family members call her Toes because of Antonella. I called her Nell. And she let us find her own nicknames for her. Like she was like, call me whatever you want. And we all just, it helped us have our own unique bond. She is beyond her years in wisdom and in professionalism. But what I loved about her is even though she was so professional and so on it on set when it was time to film, after cut, she was a child again. Like she didn't let it dim her light. She truly was able to turn it on and off. She brought so much emotion. And her mom would always tell me, like, oh, Antonella, she really feels like you guys are best friends. I'm like, we are now, aren't we? Like I'm pretty sure we are. We got along so well. It was immediate. It was immediate connection. And my best friends growing up were my female cousins. So it wasn't a far stretch for me to find that in a young character. So I learned so much from her, and I was so impressed with what she was able to achieve, and I'm so happy that people will finally be able to see her work.
Yeah, that's really lovely. And one aspect of this film that's really fun is Samantha returns, but she's playing a really freaky villain this time, and you actually have an antagonist that is taunting you and can speak to you, unlike Art. So how is it working off of her? Because there's some really fun interactions.
So I have fallen in love with Sam from the moment I met her. And the moment I met her was my final callback for Terrifier 2. Like her presence is just so warm and cool and feisty, and she's so intelligent. Like she just oozes coolness and swagger. And I literally love her so much. I just love being around her. And she's again, like she's a director, she's a writer, like she's so more than just a talented actor. And being with her, she was so patient and she really cared about the product we're all trying to deliver. And she's such a thoughtful scene partner. She would constantly ask me if I was comfortable. And there is a scene where we get physical with each other, and I really wanted her to just go for it. And she was like kind of hesitant. But when I told her, like, Sam, do it, she did it because she knew that's what I needed to make it realistic and honest for me. And I can't say more enough nice things about Sam. Like, she is the truest artist through and through. I absolutely love her as a person, as an artist, and as Vicky. I think she absolutely killed it in this role. And again, so excited for people to witness her remarkable work.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love how wholesome the behind the scenes on these movies are for how depraved they are on screen. So that's fantastic. But thank you so much for your time and congrats on the film. You have a lot to be proud of.